I'm Rudolph. I was born on June 23rd, 1940 in St. Bethlehem, Tennessee. I think that most people know me because I was known for being the fastest woman in the world. I want to tell you more about myself and the life I lived. When I was young, I was interested in basketball and running. I loved spending time with my family too. Life was hard growing up. I had many brothers and sisters. My parents' names were Ed and Blanche Rudolph. As a child, I was infected with polio. They were very poor, but they loved us very much. I was infected with polio, scarlet fever, and double pneumonia. Polio caused my left leg to be paralyzed. I had to wear a leg brace. I was determined to walk again, even though the doctors did not think I could. But I believed in myself that I could walk and then eventually run. When I grew up, I accomplished many things, and I qualified for the 1956 Summer Olympics. I won bronze, but I kept studying at the education elementary. But I also kept training for the next Olympic Games. I qualified for the Olympic Games in Australia, and I won 3 gold medals. I became an international superstar. My greatest accomplishment was winning my first gold medals in the Olympics because the day before I sprained my ankle and still won gold. When I concentrated hard enough, I could push past the pain. I lived to be 54 years old. I had a brain tumor. I died on November 14th, 1994. I hope you enjoyed learning about my life and what I did to become famous. I chose to read about William Rudolph because she was very athletic. She was also very bright and beautiful. When the sun is shining, I can do anything. No mountain is too high, no trouble too difficult to overcome.
Hello, my name is George Washington. I was born on February 22nd, 1732 in Westmoreland, Virginia. I think that most people know me because I was a founding father and helped fight for America's freedom. I was also the first president of the United States. I want to tell you more about myself and the life I lived. When I was a child, I was interested in riding horses in the country and going to Mount Vernon. Life was good, but sad at times. My parents' names were Augustine and Mary Washington. They were good parents, but my father died when I was 11 years old. As a child, I took French lessons. I wrote a book of rules for myself. I loved riding horses. I learned many things from my uncle and my older brother. When I grew up, I accomplished many things. During the Revolutionary War, I led the Continental Army and fought for America's freedom. I was the first president of the United States of America. I led our country when we were just starting out. My greatest accomplishment were being the Commander-in-Chief of American Army and being founding father and being the first president of the United States of America. I lived to be 67 years old. I died on December 14, 1799 at my home Mount Vernon, Virginia. I hope you enjoyed learning about my life and what I did to become famous. I chose to read a biography about George Washington because he was our first president. He helped in America's fight for freedom. Be not glad at the misfortune of another, thought he may be your enemy.
Hello, my name is Alexander Hamilton. I was born on January 11, 1755 or 1757 in Charleston, Nevis, a small island in the West Indies. I think that most people know me because I set up the money system we have today. I want to tell you more about myself and the life I lived. When I was young, I was interested in reading English and French. I didn't like to see many slaves working on plantations. I thought it was unfair and I never forgot how it made me feel. Life was not always easy when I was growing up. My parents' names were James Hamilton and Rachel Fawcett. They were not together for most of my childhood. As a child, I moved a lot. When I was 11, my father left the family and my mother died soon afterwards. I went to live with an older cousin. I worked very hard to earn money. I was a clerk at a store and I wrote for the Fred Lewis newspapers. When I grew up, I accomplished many things. I came to America in 1773. After going to college, I joined the Continental Army. I worked for George Washington and I became a lieutenant colonel in the Revolutionary War. When George Washington became president, he appointed me as the very first Secretary of the Treasury. My greatest accomplishment was being a great advisor to our first president, George Washington, and becoming our first Secretary of the Secretary of the Treasury. I lived to be 49 years old. I died on July 11, 1804. I hope you enjoy learning about my life and what I did to become famous. I chose to read a biography about Alexander Hamilton because I thought it would be cool to do the same biography as my brother. He said he was a good person to do research and learn about. I also wanted to do him because I know the whole musical. I also know that Alexander Hamilton made the money system. Those who stand for nothing fall for anything.
Hello. My name is Michael Jordan. I was born on February 17, 1963, Brooklyn, New York. I think that most people know me because I'm considered the greatest basketball player of all time. I want to tell you more about myself and the life I lived. When I was young, I was interested in playing all kinds of sports. I was always very athletic. Life was good when I was young. My parents' names were James and Lois Jordan. They were always supportive parents who helped me reach my goals. As a child, I always wanted to be the center of attention. I dance, sing, pull jokes, and play tricks. I love sports. My favorites were baseball and basketball. I wanted to be in the Olympics and win for the United States of America. When I grew up, I accomplished many things. I was a star player in college at the University of North Carolina. I entered the NBA draft. I was selected third by Chicago Bulls out of Rookie of the Year in 1988. I won the gold medal as a member of the U.S. Olympic Dream Team in 1992. My greatest accomplishment was being the best basketball player of all time, winning a gold medal at the Olympics. I'm 63 years old now. I hope you enjoyed learning about my life and what I did to become famous. I chose to read a biography about Michael Jordan because he was the greatest basketball player of all time. He was the most talented player of all time. He also won 5 MVPs for being the best player in the world. Talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence wins championships.
Hello, my name is Kington. I was born in 1343 BC near the Nile River in Egypt. I think that most people know me because I was an Egyptian king and my remains were not found until 1922. I want to tell you more about myself and the life I lived. When I was young, I was interested in putting on the Nile River, hunting with my bow and arrows, music and board games. Life was full of adventures, but sad at the time. When I was growing up, my father was the Pharaoh king, King Akhenaten, had power and money. My parents were good to me. They were very wealthy and of royalty. As a child, I was smart and generous. I had many servants. My clothes were simple, but my jewelry was not. I rode in a chariot. My life was very different from a child's life today. I was good at archery. When my father died, I was only 9 years old, but I became the new Pharaoh of Egypt. When I grew up, I accomplished a few things. I was the 12th Pharaoh of Egypt, and probably the most well-known. I had many advisors to help me since I was so young during my reign as Pharaoh. My advisors restored the Egyptian religion, which had been put aside. I also restored art in many temples. I married my wife when I was only 16 years old. I did not get to accomplish many things because I died so young. My greatest accomplishment was restoring the old Egyptian traditions and laws. I became very famous after my tomb was discovered in 1922. I lived to be 18 and 19 years old. I died in 1325 BC from an infection. I hope you enjoy learning about my life and what I did to become famous. I chose to read a biography about King Tut because he was the most famous pharaoh in Egypt. He was buried in the valley of the kings in Egypt. When King Tut was buried, he had a snake and a parrot on his headpiece. He was buried with all his treasure.
Hello, my name is Anne Flake. I was born on June 12, 1929 in Frankfurt, Germany. I think most people know me because I kept a diary during World War II. I want to tell you more about myself and the life I lived. When I was young, I was interested in movie starring, writing, being with all my friends. Life was good at first, but it became scary when Hitler came to power. My parents' names were Otto and Ethel Flake. They were very different, but they loved me and my sister very much. As a child, I was very happy living with my family in Germany. When Hitler came to power in 1933, our lives changed. We moved to Amsterdam to get away. But Amsterdam was soon invaded by Nazi Germany. My father decided to have the family go into hiding. We hid on the top floor of his office building. I accomplished many things, even though I was in hiding. I kept a diary and described what life was like for the Jewish people. We lost all our rights and freedom, but I still kept my hope that things would get better. My diary has been very important to the whole world. My greatest accomplishment was writing my diary and having it published. It helped people understand how dangerous hate can be. I lived to be 15 years old. I died in March of 1945 from typhoid fever. I hope you enjoyed learning about my life and what I did to become famous. I chose to read a biography about Anne Frank because she was great at writing and she shared her feelings, good and bad. Also, she helped the world because of one book. Even though her family hiding place was found, Anne's story continues to make an impact on the world. Despite everything I believe, people are really good at heart.
Hello, my name is Stanley. I was born on December 28, 1922 in New York City. I think that most people know me because I made Marvel comics. I want to tell you more about myself and the life I lived. When I was young, I was interested in comic books, writing, drawing, and watching movies. Life was hard when I was growing up. My parents' name was Celia and Jack Lee. They were immigrants from Romania and we lived in a tiny apartment. We were very poor. As a child, I was able to skip a few grades because I was so small. I was always the youngest person in my classes. I loved to create things, especially by drawing. I watched movies and used my imagination. I worked many jobs. When I grew up, I accomplished many things in 1939. I joined the Timely Comics. My first comic book story appeared in Captain America Comics. Later that year, I took over as editor at Timely in 1942. I joined the U.S. Army. I became very famous for my comic book work in 1994. I was inducted into Will Eisner Hall of Fame, an award for comic book creators. My greatest accomplishment was writing the storyline for all of the Spider-Man movies. Without me, Marvel would not exist.
lived to be 96 years old. I died on November 12, 2018. I hope you enjoyed learning about my life and what I did to be famous. I chose to write a biography about Stan Lee because he made Marvel Comics. He was also in the United States Army and he made Spider-Man movies. That person who helps others simply because it should or must be done and because it is the right thing to do is indeed without a doubt a real superhero.
Hello, my name is Queen Elizabeth. I was born on April 21st, 1926 in London, England. I think that most people know me because I was Queen of England for 70 years. I want to tell you more about my life and what I did in the life I lived. When I was young, I was interested in playing with my sister and being princess. I never thought I would be queen. Life was happy and carefree. When I was growing up, my parents' names were George and Lady Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon. They were loving, kind, and generous parents. As a child, I was Princess of England. I lived in Buckingham Palace. My house had 775 rooms. I had to learn proper manners at an early age. My father was king, so I had many responsibilities. When I grew up, I accomplished many things. I loved my charity work, and I loved being Queen of England. I always loved animals, especially corgi dogs. I owned over 30 corgi dogs. I married my Prince Charming Prince Philip in 1947. I had 4 children, Charles, Anne, Andrew, and Edward. My greatest accomplishment was becoming Queen Elizabeth II and helping many people in my country through charity work. I lived to be 96 years old. I died on September 8th, 2022. I hope you enjoyed learning about my life and what I did to become famous. I chose to read a biography about Queen Elizabeth because she was the Queen of England for 70 years. I love that she did charity work. People loved her because of how much she gave of herself. Little did her family know she would one day be queen. I have sincerely pledged myself to yours as you have pledged yourself to mine.
The Life of Tyra Lipinski by Zoe. Hello, my name is Tyra Lipinski. I was born on June 10, 1982 in New Jersey. I think most people know me because I am the youngest girl to ever win a gold medal in the Olympics. I want to tell you more about myself. So I live. When I was young, I was loving roller skating, ice skating, and riding my horse. Life was great when I was growing up. My parents' names were Jack and Palapinski. They were lovely parents who always helped me reach my goals. As a little girl, I was always busy. It was hard to keep up with my practices, but I love it. I had wanted to win a medal since I was 2 years old. I was the champion of roller skating first, then I began to work hard on my ice skating skills. When I grew up, I did many things. I won the gold medal in the women division at 1994 figure skate. championship at age 12. I was the youngest gold athlete to win a gold medal at the 1994 Olympic Festival. My greatest moment was winning the gold medal in figure skating on February 20th, 1998. I was the youngest girl to ever do this. I am 43 years old now. I hope you enjoy learning about my life and what I did to become famous. I choose her to read a biography about Clemments. She is cute and fun like me. She is pretty and cool too. She is my favorite person. As long as I leave my frustrating behind, I know I am moving toward my goal again. Hello, my name is Neil Armstrong. I was born on August 1930 in Ohio. I think that most people, because I was the first man to walk on the moon. I want to tell you more about myself and the life I lived. When I was young, I was interested in airplanes. I earned my pilot's license on my 16th birthday. Life was good when I was growing up. My parents' names were Stephen, and Viola Armstrong. They were loving parents who helped me accomplish my dreams. As a child, I was always fascinated by airplanes and flying. As a child, I was always fascinated by airplanes and flying. I loved air shows, model airplanes as a hobby. I went for a ride on a plane called the Tin Goose when I was very young, and I was hooked. I worked many jobs so I could take flying lessons. When I grew up, I accomplished many things. After college, I went into Navy and flew planes. I was an airman and I fighter planes during the Korean War. After the war, I became a test pilot. Soon after this, I became an astronaut and began working for NASA. My greatest accomplishment was being the first person to set foot on the moon on July 20th, 1969. This was during the Apollo 11 spaceflight where I was commander. My other accomplishments were having 3 wonderful children, Kara and Britt. I died on August 25th, 2012. I hope you enjoyed learning about my life and what I did to become famous. I chose to read about Neil Armstrong because he was the first person to walk on the moon and he was an astronaut. The Apollo mission made him an American hero. This is one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
1934 in London, England. I think that most people know me because I was born on April 3rd, 1934 in London, England. I want to tell you more about myself and the life I lived. When I was young, I was interested in nature and all animals, especially chimpanzees. Life was really good when I was growing up. My parents' names were Mortimer and Margaret Goodall. They were encouraging parents who understood my love of nature. As a child, I was creative, kind, and sweet. I loved animals and was ready for anything. I especially wanted to live in Africa. When I grew up, I accomplished many things. I went to Kenya when I was 23, and I soon became a famous scientist. Through my observations, I helped change many ideas about chimpanzees. I learned that every chimpanzee has its own personality and emotion. My greatest accomplishment was discovering how chimpanzees hunt, eat, and relate to other chimpanzees in the wild. I also help save chimpanzees by helping them return to the wild. I am 90 years old now. I hope you enjoyed learning about my life and what I did to become famous. I chose to read a biography about Jane Goodall because she is friends with animals, especially chimpanzees, plus she sounds energetic, fun, rich, and everything. Lastly, Jane Goodall loves nature just like me. You cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you.
Hello, my name is Malala Yousafzai. I was born on July the 12th, 1997 in Mandora, Pakistan. I think that most people know me because I stand up for women's rights. I want to tell you more about myself and the life I live. When I was young, I was interested in learning, cooking with my mom, going to school, and being with my friends. Life was good but difficult at times. When I was growing up, my parents were always loving and they wanted me to have an education. As a child, I was interested in learning and being with my friends. My father ran a school and he believed in that girls should have the right to go to school, just like the boys. I had many dreams. When the Taliban came to power, women could not leave the house without a man, and girls could not go to school anymore. I would speak out about how wrong this was for girls to not have the same right as boys. When I was still very young, I accomplished many things. I wrote a blog called The Diary of a Pakistan Schoolgirl. This blog brought awareness about how unfair the new rules were for the women of Pakistan. Many people read my blog and agreed with everything I had to say. I was shot by the Taliban for speaking out, but I survived. My family moved to England and they still work to make sure that women's voices are heard. My greatest accomplishment was standing up for girls so that they could have the right to go to school. I also won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2011. I'm 28 years old now. I hope you enjoyed learning about my life and what I did to become famous. I chose to read a biography about Malala Yousafzai because she stands up for people's rights. If something is unfair, she tries her best to fix it. She is brave. She even spoke in front of the Taliban to stand up for others. She won the Nobel Peace Prize because it is compassionate and stands for women's rights. When the whole world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful. I want to tell you more about myself and the life I lived. And when I did become famous. When I was younger, I was interested in reading and learning about women who made the world a better place. Life was hard when I was growing up. My parents' names were George and Susan Coleman. They were very poor and they picked cotton. Our family would read the Bible together every day. As a child, I loved numbers. I walked 4 miles to my one-year schoolhouse every day. I also loved reading. If my mom saved money she earned from ironing to rent books for me to read. My mom taught me many things. My heroes were Booker T. Washington and Harriet Tubman. When I grew up, I accomplished many things. I moved to Chicago when I was a young woman. I worked in a barber shop where I heard about French women who flew their own planes. From then on, I wanted to fly. I saved my money and I also took French lessons. I went to France and learned how to fly a plane in 1921. I had an international license to fly. I loved to perform flying tricks all around the United States. My greatest accomplishment was being the first Black and Asian woman to fly a plane. I lived to be 34 years old. I died on April 30th, 1926. I hope you enjoyed learning about my life and why I become famous. I chose to read a biography about Bessie Coleman because I like to travel on a plane. We are way more simpler than I thought, and that is why I chose to read about it. I refuse to take no for an answer. I don't think there's all there. Hello, my name is Princess Diana. I was born on July 1st, 1961 in Norfolk, England. I think that most people know me because I married Prince Charles and became princess in the royal family. I want to tell you more about myself and the life I lived. When I was young, I was interested in sports. I was very athletic and I loved animals. Life was really good when I was growing up. My parents' names were John and Francis Spencer. My family had been very rich and powerful for centuries. As a child, I was very athletic and I loved sports. I also loved music and art. I loved working with children and older people. I was sent to a finishing school in Switzerland when I was a teenager, but I begged to come home to England. When I grew up, I accomplished many things. I married Prince Charles on February 6, 1981. I had a huge and beautiful wedding, and the whole world watched on TV. I was the Princess of Wales, but I wasn't always happy. I did have 2 wonderful sons when I was married, but I was not happy in my marriage. When my marriage ended, I spent a lot of time helping others. My greatest accomplishment was helping people in need, especially children. I visited other countries that had been affected by the war. I was called the People's Princess. I lived to be 36 years old. I died on August 31st, 1997. I hope you enjoyed learning about my life and what I did to become famous. I chose to read a biography about Princess Diana because she helped in the hospital to some her very sick patients. She worked with her and Constantine Thompson. I read from the heart.
Oh, boys and girls, you did a beautiful job. I'm so proud of you. And you can see why I learn so much from them every day. It's always interesting to see who they choose, but my favorite part of their presentation is when they say why they chose that person. I love how they come to that decision, and They're all very different reasons, and it's very special. And you might have noticed we ended with a quote. I think we found a quote for everyone except King Tut. That was the only one we couldn't find a quote for. But I love how they ended that, and a lot of them had those memorized. And the eye contact was wonderful. That was so amazing. And I can tell they practiced a lot at home, and I know you worked with them doing that. And this is such a wonderful thing to do in second grade, because my hope for you is when you get older, that you won't mind public speaking like your teacher. I still don't like public speaking, but you're going to be so good at it by the time you are grown, and you do a wonderful job. Let's give them another round of applause. Thank you for being here. You made it special. We love having you as our guest, and it means so much to them. Thank you.